Bleeding Kansas was a period of repeated outbreaks of violent warfare between pro-slavery and anti-slavery people following the upcoming Kansas state. 55 people were killed during this time.
Approximately 55 people brutally died in the Bleeding Kansas.
Bleeding Kansas, also known as Bloody Kansas, or the border war, occurred in Kansas Territory in western Missouri between 1854 and 1859. The battles were caused by the political debate over slavery in Kansas that led up to the Civil War. Bleeding Kansas got its name from the terrible bloodshed from the pro-slavery and anti-slavery groups.
The Bleeding Kansas contributed to the coming of the Civil War, roughly between 1854 and 1859.
Bleeding Kansas was part of a political storm that occurred throughout the United States before the Civil War. The anti-slavery forces prevailed as Kansas entered into Union, a free state, on January 29, 1861.
The long-term effects of the events of Bleeding Kansas was ultimately the Civil War and the demise of slavery throughout the nation. Charles Sumner delivered a speech called Crime Against Kansas and denouncing the Kansas-Nebraska Act on May 19th and May 20th.
During Bleeding Kansas, murder, mayhem, destruction, and physiological warfare became a code of conduct in eastern Kansas and western Missouri.
After the passage of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, it led up to the Bleeding Kansas. A group of pro-slavery men started the Bleeding Kansas.
John Brown and his followers started the violence in Kansas, which became the Bleeding Kansas. On June 5th, 1858, Montgomery and his raiders tried to burn down the Western Hotel. Several shots were fired into the hotel and surrounding homes, but the hotel was saved. Bleeding Kansas was a period of repeated outbreaks of violent warfare between pro-slavery and anti-slavery people following the upcoming Kansas state. 55 people were killed during this time. Franklin Pierce, the fourth president of the United States, was one such person whose failings overshadowed his contributions, irrevocably associated with the Kansas-Nebraska Act, 1854, and Bleeding Kansas. Pierce is ranked by many historians as the nation's worst president.